Today, we're reacting to Randy Pitchford's obnoxious comments on the price of Borderlands 4. Helldivers 2 has a huge new update that sees players returning in droves. And what's next for The Last of Us TV show and video game? Stick around for all that and more. Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of Good Playing With You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my loyal legion of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Moulding.
Hey now.
Before we hit the headlines, just a quick note that we're 319 subs away from our goal of 1,000 subscribers, so if you could hit the like and subscribe button right now, it would be a huge, huge help. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the headlines of the week. First up, Borderlands 4 CEO and pitchman is doing what he does best, pissing people off online and damaging his own company. Moulding, you have this story.
Absolutely, man. This story kind of rocked me a little bit, which sounds dramatic, but you'll understand when you hear it if you haven't heard it yet. So I pulled this from John Walker at Kotaku. Borderlands 4 boss says a real fan will pay $80 for games. When asked about a potential $80 cost for Borderlands 4, multi-millionaire Randy Pitchford, CEO of developer Gearbox, told a potential customer, quote, "If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school, working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen." Pitchford sent the message as a reply on X May 13th and was spotted by Games Radar on Tuesday. Randy sent out a new comment on X yesterday in which he alludes to some contrition for his remarks. Quote, "Nobody likes being taken for granted, and it was not my intent. I'm humbled by the love and support everyone has shown the team as we push hard to get this amazing game in your hands. They're crushing it, and I can't wait for everyone to play what's going to be the best Borderlands ever. Regardless of where the price lands, it's going to be worth it and then some. Back to work for me." Incidentally, last week during a PAX East panel, Pitchford insisted that he didn't know the Borderlands 4 price, but refused to rule out $80. Quote, "I'll tell you the truth, I don't know. That is the truth. I'll hit it straight on. It's an interesting time," he said. "On one level, we've got a competitive marketplace where the people that make these choices want to sell as many units as possible, and they want to be careful about people that are price sensitive. There are some folks who don't want to see prices go up. Yeah, no one wants to see prices go up. Even the ones deciding what the prices are. There's other folks accepting the reality that game budgets are increasing and there's tariffs for the retail packaging. It's getting gnarly out there, you guys. Borderlands 4 has more than twice the development budget than Borderlands 3, more than twice. So the truth is, I don't know what the price is going to be. And so we're going to have to set the price soon. It might be the new price that Nintendo and Microsoft have led with. It might be that way we stay back. It's going to be the other people at the publishing house that decide that. And if it is cheaper, then maybe we'll sell you that mini map that you guys want that will develop later. How bad do you want that? $10? I'm just kidding. Or am I? Ugh, what a douche.
Oh my God. Wait, so he's saying if we have a reasonable price, we're going to put microtransactions on it.
Yes,
like that's
the joke. Yeah.
Douchebag.
So he concluded that Borderlands is fucking amazing and it's worth it. So boys, what do you think? Does Pitchford make a good point here with regards to the cost of making current gen AAA games, or is he just unbelievably out of touch? Who's going to start?
Go for it, buddy. I got a lot to say, but I
all right. Well, nothing like kicking off like an anecdotal little bit where you're working at an ice cream parlor and you got Pismo Beach out there and you're scraping your money together. Man, this is just all around just like a weird take. Like you never, it's just something, there's something so wrong about like Scott. Like you can afford this. And it's like, listen, bud, we're out here trying to buy eggs right now. We can't actually afford an $80 game. Like, dude, you're hallucinating. And it's just a crazy to put that out in public it was on Twitter, right? Like,
So that first statement was on Twitter. That
yeah.
second statement was at PAX East.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
couple
So,
weeks
I
ago.
mean, putting that on Twitter, like, to me is just, you're so out of touch. Like, I don't know where that's coming from, but you're the head of a video game company. Like, PR, step in, like, tie this guy down, because right now he's like not selling Borderlands 4. So that's a rough one.
My thing is, Randy Pitchford has had a history of toxic behavior and telling fans to fuck off. In fact, when I was researching this topic for the pod and I was going back through his Twitter comments to people, he said that literally to people. He said, kindly fuck off, troll. Like, that's how he speaks to fans. And that is what he thinks about fans. And that is really the most toxic thing. He has a history going back from 2013 and beyond of this sort of attitude and disdain for players. He has no way of talking to people. And this is beside his other, like, issues that he's had, like the time he slammed David Eddings into the wall at GDC, allegedly, who was the voice of Claptrap, the porn issues he had at work, like beside all of the lawsuits and that sort of stuff that he's caused, it really is his attitude and his disdain for players and his entitlement that makes people just want to punch him in the face. It's ridiculous. And the thing is, look, we're all trying to swallow this whole $80 things. Is it justified? No. And if you have to charge $80 to, be able to afford to make your game, maybe you should look at your budget, and maybe you should be looking at how much money you're being paid. Because I guarantee you this $80 is going straight to Pitchford's pocket, and he doesn't deserve shit.
I mean, and I would like to just throw it out there that we saw the game, we saw the gameplay at the State of Play that they put out not long ago. And I'm just going to say it, that game did not look $80 to me. Some games do look 80. I mean, actually, I haven't seen an $80 looking game yet, to be quite frank, but
Me either.
but this to me is not that. Like, this is a $60 game. I feel like maybe 70, but 80 that's getting crazy. So, Malden, what do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, there's a couple of things here. One being that statement where he said that the budget of this one is more than twice of what the last one is. I'm like, I saw that trailer. We saw that trailer. Where did that budget go? I don't know that it necessarily went into production. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just a gamer. I'm not an expert, but that money, I'm betting, is going into the pockets of those executives,
Easily.
Not the budget of that game, or not the game itself. So that set me off when I read that. But I couldn't believe it when I woke up a couple mornings ago and this news broke, because the out of touch nature of where the country is what blows me away more than anything. It's that dude from a few years ago who was talking about what was it the new what was the mobile game when he was like, what, you guys don't have phones?
Diablo.
Like, you're just, Diablo, that's right.
Yeah.
It's that attitude of, we're gonna shit and you're gonna eat it. That's that kind of feeling that I get from these people. And the way I feel about it is, I mentioned it last week, I mentioned it on Twitter, I'm playing Skyrim right now. I'm eating well with lots of other games that I can go back and play. I can play on Game Pass. I don't need this game. This game is not something that I am clamoring to get a hold of because there's some emptiness of product out there. There's lots of other stuff that I can play. So I get this feeling that, like, they need us as gamers way more than the gamers need them.
Right. And you know what's funny is, like, in my mind, sometimes it's like, if you're such a fan of these games, instead of forking over 80, maybe you put your foot down and not pay the 80. Like, that's a wild.
That's my question, though, gentlemen.
Yeah.
The game gets announced, $80? Are you in? Are you out? What is your reaction if that's how it happens?
I'm out on this game at any cost. Like, I'll maybe buy it on sale, but I was hesitant at the beginning of purchasing it, but now there's absolutely no chance that I'd buy it.
Yeah,
at this point.
No, I mean, 80 is like, we've already made our blood pact. Like, I'm sticking to it. Like, even, I'm like huge fans of different games, but if they announce it for $80, like, I'm bowing out. Like, 80's crazy, and this game is really crazy for 80.
I agree. I mean, look at this thing. We've played this same game 5 times
Yeah.
now. If you're dying to play this game, then you can go play 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
the prequel, the Tiny Tina. We've been getting the same exact game over and over and over. They have not changed it enough to get us interested and to justify, A, a new game, B, an $80 price tag. And that's the most ridiculous thing, is that, like, oh, budgets. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what my budget is? Like let's talk about budgets. But you got to respect my budget too. So it's like, if you're not going to put something out that justifies the cost, that I'm not going to pay for it. And the main thing here that people keep saying on Twitter is, Pitchford, you're damaging your brand and yourself. And unfortunately, you're damaging all of the hard work that all of the programmers and everybody working on this game have. Being a ill-suited frontman, how can they put such a toxic individual at the top of this company when every time he opens his mouth, it's just inflammatory and rude? It's wild. And then on top of that, they want us to pay more for it. So it's those two things that I'm like, you can go fuck yourself.
I want to say one more thing on the matter. It is that would have been so easy for him to respond to this tweet saying, the game is awesome. The people working on this game are awesome. The company's awesome. You love our product. Like, this game is worth $80. That would be, I mean, that I still probably wouldn't pay it, but I wouldn't be angry at that statement. I would be like, yeah, he's standing up for his product. He stands behind it. And that's where I think we mentioned on another podcast, I think they know that this game is kind of derivative and kind of crap. I think they know that. And so it's kind of showing up in these statements where they're getting a little defensive about it, or at least that's the feeling I'm getting.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to the next topic, there was one more Borderlands story that was interesting this week. Lord, you had brought this one up.
Yeah. So this is interesting stuff. Steam users are review bombing the Borderlands games following Take-Two's new user agreement. This is from Games Radar, and I don't want to botch her last name. Kolsky?
Nailed it.
Like there we go. Is that right?
Nailed it. Yeah.
Anna Golsky. Woo. Okay, so ahead of Borderlands 4's ahead of Borderlands 4, fans of the action RPG series from Gearbox Software are rallying online to share their thoughts on Take-Two Interactive's new terms of service. As pointed out by a player in a recent Reddit thread, the Borderlands games are currently facing a review bomb of sorts on Steam. The debacle boils down to Take-Two's recently updated user agreement, which is outlined on the holding company's website. People are review bombing the entire Borderlands series because of EULA changes that can apparently gain root level access to your machine under the guise of anti-cheat software. The poster continues explaining how fans are upset at the prospect of Take-Two collecting personal information like accounts, passwords, telephone numbers, etc. One look at the Steam page for each of the 3 main Borderlands entries serves as proof that players are indeed upset about the new terms of service. Under the first game's recent reviews, which have dropped to mixed, people share their concern about their user agreement. So, like, this is crazy. I mean, I know we just talked about Borderlands 4. We can go back to the first 3. Like, now, I don't know, would this make you hesitant to go back and, you would be on Steam checking these games out? Would you go back? And if there's something like spyware kind of getting on your machine through a game, would you play it?
Oof.
Well, wait, my thing is, this game is PvE. It's not even PvP. So how are they justifying this anti-cheat software when you own the game and you're playing by yourself?
That is such
because
a great
we don't
question.
own the game.
Yeah.
That's why we all rent the game. That's what it is.
And it's just, I mean, something's getting in there. It is like, I mean, anti-cheat, I guess. Is there not any PvP at all in those? No.
It's just co-op.
Oh,
yeah, it's just
you can do online co-op. Maybe it's something along those lines, I would think, but pretty crazy. I mean, if this thing is drilling into your machine, I mean, I feel like we've been having a lot of terms of service drama lately. My kind of theory is that these types of shenanigans have been going on behind the scenes for a while now, and I think they're being nudged either by Valve or other companies are saying, hey, we got to start like disclosing this shady background behavior. Like we need to put, update our terms of service, and we're just seeing it more. But this has been going on. Like we've been getting data mined out the wazoo. Like, what do you guys think of something like that?
Mad respect to the guy who read the terms of service.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I certainly know I haven't read them.
You can normally opt out of all that sort of monitoring and stuff like that. I mean, even on
Yeah.
websites with like cookies and stuff like that, or on the Epic Store, you can opt out of like sharing your information with the game developer when you purchase their game. So it's like, this is definitely intrusive. It's definitely weird. And with their game launching soon, they've got to be more careful.
Oof.
Yeah. Like they just like can't catch a break right now. It would seem like
they're
it's all
causing all of their own. Yeah,
yes.
it's all exactly.
Yeah,
all right, let's move on to some better news. Let's move on to something more exciting and better, and potentially what I'm going to be playing this weekend. Let's talk about Helldivers 2. This is an article from Eric Van Allen at IGN entitled "Helldivers 2 sees player count surge alongside Heart of Democracy update," and I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this one, my friends. He writes, earlier this week, the Illuminate officially launched an invasion of Super Earth as part of the Heart of Democracy update in Helldivers 2. After a long buildup involving mobile black hole, Super Earth has become the latest zone of conflict, and a huge number of Helldivers are dropping into various cities to assist with the defense efforts. A quick look at Steam database shows the player count rebounding back up alongside with the Heart of Democracy update drop, and the peak is just over 163,000 players. It exceeds the previous update, but is still far off from the release window peaks of Helldivers 2, which I checked, and they were roughly about 500,000. So, I mean, hey, this is almost maybe half, and like close to half of your initial players, and this game launched 16 months ago. So that's like, wow. Over on X Twitter, Arrowhead CCO Jonathan Pilestead posted a few fascinating numbers. First, he said this surge might be one of the largest simultaneous returns of players for Helldivers, and he put the number at 197,000. And second, that around, he said, 2.5 million Helldivers have been playing the game every week, which is really a healthy number for a live service game like this, especially as long as it's been going on. So what do you guys think about the numbers for this 16-month-old game? And will you be jumping in this weekend with me?
Wow. Dan, to hear you say you're so excited to jump back in there, I couldn't believe it. Like, I wouldn't think there was going to be, I guess, like, okay, like an invasion of Super Earth is something that would be like, okay, maybe it is time to get in there. But is it?
You have to see the footage. Like on the YouTube, we'll show the footage, but they added a whole biome, like it's a Super Earth and cities.
I saw like a couple little, I saw like a little tidbits here and there, but it's like this game has been, let's be honest, like the last thing we had to celebrate about this game was shovels. So they've been moving a little slow with where they needed to be. Like, sure, this could be what brings me back. Honestly, yes, I'm with you. I think this could be the reason to jump in, and I'm surprised the surge has been so good. And I'm actually glad to see it because I miss our Helldiver crew. But it's like it like has this game in my mind. It should be moving a little faster than where we're at. I don't know if that was just on purpose. Like, I just thought we would be in a different stage of the game with this one for now. But hey, like they're getting somewhere. It's enough to make me interested in jumping back in it. Maybe not this weekend, but sometime to check it out and see what's going on.
I don't really have anything to say about this because I don't play the game. I hope they did get they hired someone else, because wasn't for a while just one dude handling like being a game master and handling the whole thing. So I hope he got either a vacation or someone else to help him out. I mean, I'm happy. How much this game was another one that was not full price, right? This was like a 40 or 50.
It was 40, and now it's down to I think 32 this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Sure.
Oh, that's cool.
32. Maybe I will pick it up. No, I won't. But I'm happy that people are having a good time with it. That's my 2 cents.
I agree. I'm pumped that this update is so substantial, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I agree that this, it would be nicer to see these updates come out at a faster clip, but this isn't Fortnite. And my thing is, look, I need to take a little time off from a game and then come back to it for a fresh experience. And I don't have to be pestered all the time with all these sorts of stuff. I can take a year off. Essentially, that's what I've done, and then come back to it and that's what I'm going to be doing for the long weekend. So
Wow,
nice.
that's so fun. It really has been almost like a year. That's
Yeah,
crazy. And
I think
speaking of
Helldivers
Fortnite,
launched with the podcast. I think they kind of launched
Yeah.
concurrently.
it was
It
sort
the
of
first games we
our
talked about.
breakthrough content.
Yeah.
It's just crazy because speaking of Fortnite, like I did play a little bit of the Star Wars one.
We're going to get to that one very
Yeah.
soon, so I'm
Yeah,
glad to
yeah.
hear that.
So we, interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, Helldivers, it is a different spin on everything, and it's good to see that there's some variation in this multiplayer sphere. So good on them.
Yeah.
Worth picking back up.
Agreed. Now, before we do talk about Fortnite, let's talk about one other juggernaut, a juggernaut that's been on TV as well as video games, and that's Last of Us. Malding, I believe you had this story.
Yeah, I'm taking this from our friend Paul Tassi at Forbes. And I say our friend, I don't know who he is. We just talk about him a lot. And he's really prolific, and I respect that a lot. The Last of Us now has 4 seasons, and Naughty Dog is making a secret game. Almost everyone is praising The Last of Us Episode 6, minus some game players upset that a few lines changed on a certain porch scene. After that aired, we now have some additional information from co-writer Craig Mazin that seems to alter the previously stated plans for the show's future. Originally, it was said that because of its size, The Last of Us Part 2 would be split into 2 seasons, 2 and 3. Now, Mazin says that even that's not big enough. Here's Mazin speaking with Collider. I think there's a decent chance that season 3 will be longer than season 2, said Mazin, but certainly there's no way to complete this narrative in a 3rd season. Hopefully, we'll earn our keep enough to come back and finish it in a 4th. Again, it was previously said that only season 3 was needed, and now 4 seasons has fans questioning how this is going to play out. If season 3 is 8 episodes to season 2 7, what is season 4 going to be? Complicating all of this is a revelation from Neil Druckmann that alongside Intergalactic, Naughty Dog is also working on a second secret game that Druckmann is producing. He will not be as hands-on as other projects, he says. Is that The Last of Us Part 3? That's unclear, but it stands to reason that it could be that, or it could be something like the resurrection of Uncharted. And if it is The Last of Us Part 3, well, there are some more HBO seasons eventually. So, boys, what do you think? Are you up to date on the current season? And Dan, do you think the second game warrants 3 whole seasons of television? Without spoiling the game for those like me who haven't played it yet, can you see a 3rd game of the franchise?
Lord, do you want to pop in, or should I?
Oh, you
Okay.
take I haven't caught up on the show. But I need to hear what you got to say. So
Okay. I'm caught up on the show. In fact, I just binged it in the last 2 days, and the finale is this Sunday, so I'm super pumped, and I cannot wait. They've done a fantastic job. It definitely deserves another season, but I'll tell you the reason why they're definitely going to get another season. One is, I don't know what's going on with the budgets and scheduling and the writing, because I'm not in that sort of industry, but this season was 7 episodes. Are you effing kidding me? Look, I love prestige TV and stuff, but you guys are taking way too long to tell a story, and we were going from like 14 episodes down to 7 episodes. Oh my God, I watched Cops last night, and it has 33 episodes per season, and I'm like, come on.
I don't know
you're
if you can compare the two.
I know, but I'm just saying, seasons have significantly shrunk over time, and it's ridiculous. So yes, I think they could easily pad this one out, especially where they're teasing that they're going to end this next season 2. I think a season 4 is a lock, and the other reason I think season 4 is a lock is because, look, HBO did not do themselves any favors with that last season of Game of Thrones. That show, while still beloved, really hurt its own reputation by being too brief in that final season and just rushing it, and they've ruined it, a lot of it. I still think it's good, but a lot of people don't, and I don't think that they're going to make the same mistake here. They are going to fork over some cash hand over fist to make this go the distance. And then the third reason I think that this really will get that next season is, like you alluded, that secret game 100% is the next Last of Us. Look, no one's bigger of Last of Us 2 fan than me. I think it is the best writing and the best video game story that's ever been told. Do I think it needs a 3? No. Will it get a 3? 100%. And is it for artistic reasons? Absolutely not. The story was finished in 2, but for financial reasons, there's too much on the line. They have to keep the franchise alive. Neil Druckmann knows that you can't ring a bell twice. You can't have that sort of success twice. So he stepped away from it. Someone else, I hope it's that, they're doing a great job. I wish them the best of luck, because 3 has to be truly amazing to compete with 2, but it will keep the franchise going. There will be more than 4 seasons, and we're going to see this thing well into the next few years.
I heard the secret game from Druckmann is actually a intergalactic remaster.
Oh my God, that's so good that they're developing the game and the remaster at the same time. Oh Lord,
right?
That's
right. Well, I mean, maybe they're taking their cues from Arrowhead. They're taking it slow. It's just an interesting. Yeah, I mean, they're going for. So I heard. So the 3rd season now is going to be all Abby. Is that
that's
accurate?
what the rumor is. Yes.
Yeah, that's
good point. That came out this week.
Yes. I believe I
think
read
what's
that.
her name said that. The comedian lady that we were talking about earlier. I think she's the one that said that.
Oh, yeah. So she kind of spilled the beans on the whole thing.
Yeah,
supposedly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, how do you guys feel about that? Is it worth having Abby step in? So like, Ellie, is that kind of how do you expect?
That's how the game's done. No, the game, it's in 2 parts, and this is 100% they're doing it right. It has been shot for shot, like what they've done on the game, and people freaking out about a few little details getting massaged. Come on, it's not a big deal. The whole thing's still effing great.
Okay,
so I haven't played. I haven't played the game, but I'm only down 1 episode of the show. I've been really loving it. Aside from a few little things that Dan clued me in, make more sense. Like a guy just showing up out of nowhere was pretty ridiculous. But you said that makes sense. I'm really enjoying
we played
it.
Him, and they didn't show the part when we played.
The comparison to Game of Thrones, I think, is so apt, because when Game of Thrones stopped being frankly good is when they ran out of the books, because George R.R. Martin hadn't been, and that's what Warner or HBO wants to do, is they want to make sure that they have some prestige content from Druckmann to adapt. And I think they were a little burnt, like you said, by Game of Thrones, and they don't want to go through that again. So they're like, give us that 3rd game so we can eat up like 2 more seasons of show.
Right.
Oh, I'll die on that hill that Game of Thrones got completely ruined in season 8.
Yeah.
That thing was like, I can't even like that whole series. I'm like, dude, they totally racked it out in season 8. Unfortunately, it was too bad. But yeah, I think they'll do all right, and I know a lot of people are definitely tuning in, and which is great. Gotta love like a good zombie series. So I think, I mean, gosh, could you imagine it being like a what if they were going back to like Uncharted though in this secret game? Like, I don't want to like, go too crazy, but imagine it being like something completely unexpected, and that would be cool. Did you see that?
They need to bring back Uncharted. Sony needs to start making games again. This season, seriously, this generation has just been a victory lap for them, and all they've done is remaster games that they made on the PS4 and put them out. But I think they're getting the message that fans want these games, and I have full expectations that the PS6 is going to be, the home of The Last of Us Part 3 and Uncharted. They're going to have to bring back. There's too much money there, and so I expect we're going to see all of these single player franchises that we know and love coming back for the next generation.
Agreed.
Yeah. Speaking of games that we know and love, well, some of us more than others, let's finally talk about Fortnite, because this beast is back with a bang on at least on the iPhone, that is. It's currently the #1 downloaded free app on the iOS App Store because it's been missing for 5 years. Wesley LeBlanc gave us an update. He is from Game Informer, and he writes an article, Fortnite is back on the iOS App Store in the US after nearly 5 years. Fortnite, Epic Games' mega popular Battle Royale, is back on iOS App Store in the US after 5 years after being removed. Apple kicked off kicked Fortnite off the iOS App Store in 2020 after Epic added its own payment system, violating Apple's at the time rules and preventing Apple from receiving kickback fees. However, after the court ruled in Epic's favor, the iPhone phone maker had to let them back into the store. So everyone is basically jumping back on. Do you care? Is this a big deal? I mean, and mobile, like that's who's playing there. I mean, somebody's got to be. It's the number one app. But what do you guys think?
I think that anytime Apple gets knocked down a peg is a good thing, because they're such a I don't know. I feel like they're like a Mr. Burns type of company, and I like to see them get knocked down a peg, and now they, whatever deal that they've made, and they have to they're letting Fortnite back on. That's great. Again, my thing with more games for more people being able to play where they want and how they want is great. I mean, it's so funny that this is all about Fortnite, and Fortnite is, I don't know, it's such a crazy game to be crazy about.
Yeah, it's just weird. I guess this thing is just for iPad kids only. Like, it's just such as like, I don't know anybody who, I mean, I don't even know who people who play like any mobile games at all. Like, I think I've met one guy who's played Call of Duty mobile, but like, I mean, but
And now
that,
they're shutting that one down, right? Like they're
oh, they're
taking the Call of.
oh, they
Maybe
are.
I'm wrong, but I thought they announced that they're taking Warzone off
Oh,
of
I mean,
mobile.
I wouldn't be surprised. They're so like all those games are just like one big like money grab from all these the parents who the kids got the credit card from.
Mhm.
It's a whole scam. I mean, then again, you never know. Fortnite is kind of one of those games that I could see playing better on mobile than I mean, even like a Call of Duty. So this is something that I
Yeah.
would have a slight more interest in, but again, I don't want to play games on my phone at all. Like I'm on my phone enough reading crazy headlines all day, and I don't want to like
Mhm.
log onto my phone to play Fortnite. It's just simple as that. It goes for like kind of all games across the board. So if I'm gonna play my game, PC, console.
Yeah. I can barely play it with a controller, let alone trying to play it with whatever you have to do on a phone to play it. But I will say, mobile games are a huge industry. I think a lot of people play mobile games exclusively and
Yeah.
don't even play console games. It's a huge part of the. Yeah.
Well, they're not playing the Warzone because Call of Duty removed it on the 18th.
Oh,
I
there
just
you
checked
go.
it. Yeah.
There you
Breaking
go.
news.
Definitely.
I also did jump into Fortnite for the first time in a long time with you, Dan, this last weekend,
Yes.
and got introduced to Vader.
Yeah,
which was
what a crazy thing,
interesting.
which is the next story. So I appreciate you bringing that up. But essentially, before we hop into that story about the SAG-AFTRA lawsuit on Vader and stuff, what did you think? Did you like it? Like, what was your experience? Do you think it's all hype?
Well, that game is crazy. That's all I can say about that.
I think a direct quote of you towards me this weekend was, you make it sound a lot more fun than this game actually is. And I was like, oh, dick.
Dang. That's
Is
like
that right before you hung up on me and like, like shut down? Yeah, I mean, listen, it's fun for a few minutes for me, but yeah, it's not my game of choice. I'll just put it that way. It feels like this game and Call of Duty really are feeling less like games to me and more promotional vehicles for other entertainment properties. And
dang,
that's
that's a
not
good point.
entirely the most fun.
Man, why'd you have to say that, Malding?
Yeah, sorry.
that's like seriously like mind warping stuff, because I was in there and I don't know, the last little session I had with a friend of the pod, Andrew, I did not have fun. Like,
Oh no.
we were getting rolled. I was getting rolled. I was not playing very well. Like, just everything. We weren't seeing people for a really long time. It just didn't feel like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel fun, like as exhilarating as it should. Like, I just feel like I'm kind of walking around, seeing if I can find some loot, but I don't know. It's not there. The spark's gone.
Yeah, no, I think honestly this season is abbreviated. It's short. it's weapons again. It's that whole thing where you either have the weapons and you can fight, or you can't. And even if you have the weapons, you have to know how to use them. It's not a strong season whatsoever. It does feel like a cash in. I did have a good time with Darth Vader, though. On the other hand, I was asking him all sorts of personal questions and sexual stuff, and he was just, trying to shut me down left and right. And it was really hilarious how he would say, like, your sexual interests and proclivities are not of consequence right now. We need to focus on the game. I'd be like, oh, come on, Vader, you can tell me about Padme,
Oh,
like, I just make a wild shit up. And I mean, he was not having it. So just having him completely shut me down, I had a really good time with.
So you could ask it anything. Like, I don't know the full details. I just saw some snippets of him saying crazy stuff. So like,
Yeah.
did they end up putting like a leash on Vader at some point? Because I
think so, because I
Okay.
couldn't get him to work for me, like, what was it, Friday night, but then Saturday I could. And it might be that you can't do it in a party, you can only do it solo. But yeah, I just had different experiences. It was funny.
Oh, well, that's cool. Do you see it like happening more with different characters, or did they learn their lessons? It's never come back.
No, I definitely see this as happening. I think this could potentially be the future of video games, and we'll see this again and more. But one thing we'll also see is video games negotiating with SAG-AFTRA, and that's the other thing I want to talk about. It was really interesting. This was also by Wesley LeBlanc, and he writes, SAG-AFTRA files unfair labor practice complaint against Epic Games due to AI Darth Vader. Long story short, I'm not going to read the article, but essentially what he's saying is, the Fortnite Llama Productions made a deal with the voice actor
James Earl Jones.
Thank you, and his estate to get his voice. And they granted it the permission, and that's why it was used in the game. But they did not go through SAG-AFTRA and use them as a negotiations and get them involved in the process, and that's why they're getting sued. And they're basically trying to create a process and standardize a format where it's like, hey, you're allowed to do this with people if their estate allows it and their families are okay with it, but you have to come through us for the negotiation part of it. And that's something that they didn't do, and that's where this issue is being raised. So they're just kind of inserting themselves, and it's caused a little bit of kerfluffle. And I think it's really just because it's new technology and a new space. But did you guys hear about this, and what were your thoughts?
No, I didn't hear about this. Malding, what do you think?
I mean, I'm totally on the side of the unions. They've got to protect these things, or else these companies are really going to run roughshod over everyone. So this is just the start. So if they are able to get away with a little, like here or there, they push a little bit, and the estate relents a little bit, that just makes them going to push a little bit further next time. And then pretty soon what you're going to see is all of a sudden it's going to be, you'll see actors' faces, you'll see act without their permission at all and not getting any money. You've got to run these things through the union. That's why they're there.
I would have to agree. I think my biggest fear is that you're going to be dealing with different parties every single time if you go directly to the actor's estate. And these are going to be people that are not as familiar with the requests and the contracts. And there could be some nefarious clauses in there that the SAG-AFTRA people could be familiar with and catch. There could be like in perpetuity or in multiple projects and that sort of stuff. And that sort of language, if you're not familiar with it, you could be signing away more than you realize. And so I agree. I think SAG-AFTRA was it right to call them out on this and blow the whistle here. And I think it will become a bigger deal. This is just the first one as this sorts of thing happens.
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, this can't be the first time companies have gone around SAG, but this is just sort of where AI comes into play, though.
Yeah.
So it's like, Epic, of course, they knew what they're doing. They're like, do we go to SAG? Do we go straight to the state and just kind of negotiate? I'm with you. I think you're right. Like, I was going to kind of say, SAG's inserting themselves here. Maybe they need to step back. But then I'm like, at the same time, you guys made all the points that I was going to argue for, so that I have nothing to say. So, all right. Good
That's
stuff.
Like
funny.
me on Helldivers. I got
Yeah.
nothing.
Well, Fortnite might have gotten themselves in a little bit of legal hot water with that one. I'm sure they'll be fine. But another one who might or might not be fine is Bungie and their plagiarism scandal. Lord, you had this story.
Yes. So this is an interesting one. So morale at Bungie reportedly at an all-time low as the iconic FPS dev investigates stolen assets in Marathon. This is from Game Radar's Con Saren. Um, in case the scandal hasn't reached you yet, earlier this week, futuristic indie artist Fern Anti-Real Hook accused the studio of using her 2017 art portfolios as inspiration, to put it mildly, for Marathon without permission or payment. Bungie later admitted that a former artist at the studio had mistakenly included these in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in game, and said it was currently investigating a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals. A new Forbes report citing comments from former and current Bungie staff now gives some insight into what's happening inside the studio. Morale is said to be in free fall, and the vibes have never been worse. Higher ups haven't said anything about a delay potentially hitting Marathon, but many are uncertain about if the shooter can turn around its controversial reputation in time for launch just a few months away. Game director Joe Ziegler even said the studio was still scrubbing all of our assets to make sure that we are being respectful of the situation, which obviously sounds like a pretty hefty undertaking. So, is Marathon dead? That's
Yes.
like, is this is like, do you think this game will actually release in December? And on top of that, like, what does this mean for Bungie moving forward as a whole? Because this isn't even their first time being caught up in a plagiarizing scandal. They've had something in 2023. So, what do you guys think about all this?
So Sony bought Bungie for a ton of money.
Mhm.
And they are absolutely going to put this game out and it will absolutely fail. That's my prediction. What is crazy to me about this whole thing is not only did they obviously steal these assets from this person, you can see the guns, they have like some numbers on them and it's pulled right from this person's artwork. You see the exact, they didn't even act like they were adjusting things.
It's egregious.
Right from
It's
it.
egregious.
And not only that, I feel like they lifted the entire aesthetic. I feel like the entire aesthetic of this game has been pulled from those posters. Again, this is just how I feel. Don't know if that's true or not. But looking at that artwork and looking at the game, they're quite the match. And I think they're in real trouble from this. This is nuts how this got through. You know, everyone can't know everything at once. So someone slipped it in, someone higher up didn't know they slipped it in, and that's kind of how it got through. But I feel bad for everyone involved because all those developers are putting a lot of time into this game that's probably just going to be another Concord. Sony's not going to pull it like they did Concord, I don't think, but it's certainly not going to have the reaction that they're hoping for, and that's just a bummer for everyone involved.
I agree. Look, I think that unfortunately these scandals can be paid off and overlooked. I do think there's a high chance that this thing could bomb, but you never know until people actually get their hands on it and start to play it. They have time. If they're really going to launch in December, they can weather this storm. People are going to
September.
Oh, September.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing it gets delayed to be
That's
to be
fair.
honest with you,
That's fair.
until December. But I believe they have some time to kind of weather this storm, and people will forget about this, and it will be. I don't know that. I mean, if they charge like $40-$60 or something like that, then yes, this thing is DOA. But if they decide to change course and go free to play, maybe they could have something here. The ball really is in their court in terms of where this game goes and where they go from here. Let this be kind of like their low point, and then they can build from here. I'm not writing them off because they are Bungie. I want to believe, and you won't really know until we get our hands on the sticks. It doesn't look good, but who knows what it could happen after that delay I just made up. I mean, it could actually be a decent game.
In the back of my mind, I have a thing where there's a lot of things that are making gamers very disgruntled right now. We got crazy delays. We got $80 price tags. We have spyware being installed on our machines. And so there's just sometimes you're just rooting against some of these games that are coming from these big companies. And in this case, this plagiarizing scandal might be just what puts gamers completely in overdrive hatred mode. And this could be just something that just makes them go hard stop, no matter what goes on with like whether the price point's 40 free. We're just not going to support this thing. I mean, because plagiarizing, we know, like, we've been nailed in, this has been imprinted in our brains since grade school that it's, you cannot plagiarize. And that's like the hardest no. And right. Yeah. I mean, talk to
Well,
AI.
It's
kids
changing now.
kids-
ChatGPT is
Yeah,
changing.
Yeah, I'm like,
the
kids
game.
today, like
yeah,
ChatGPT, and ChatGPT steals everything from everybody. But
Yeah,
I do
that's
like
so
your
true.
summary on the whole podcast. I think that's really nice.
But it's just an interesting, it's a weird situation that I think Bungie just doesn't want to, and shouldn't be in. And here we are, and they only have a few months to, correct the ship. So
Yeah, can they pull it out? We'll see. Ooh, I know it'll be
We'll see.
interesting to watch. All right, well, we got to move on to the emails of the week. If you want to suggest a topic, feel free to hit us up at goodplayingwithyou@gmail.com, just like CutieLoops88 did. She says, I recently fell in love with Pokemon on my Switch, and I can't wait for the new Z to A. I feel like it's the best series out there, and I keep recommending it to all my friends because everyone should try it at some point, which made me want to ask, what video games do you guys think should be required playing?
Great question. Should I kick us off?
Yeah, go for it.
When I think of required playing, the first thing that popped in my head was Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like, that game, and to be fair, I didn't even play it on the N64. I played this one on the 3DS. And that was a quality experience. I thought everything in that game, I was just like, you could tell that so much has been borrowed from that game and is still holds up so well, because so many modern games use all the different little tips, tricks from that game. It is so well done. So I'm just thinking about foundations of what game, where you should go for a foundation of your gaming career, and that's a good one for me. So Ocarina of Time, for sure.
Good pick.
I thought the thought process is the exact same for me. Is like, what game is like a foundation of gaming, and lots of Final Fantasies to choose from, but I gotta go Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI was something that I really feel like is the basis of so many RPGs, turn-based and otherwise, that have gone on since then. It's that that party of characters. Each one you play a little bit differently. They all have a talent that they bring to the fight. The story is incredible. It takes you up to the moon. The villain is incredible. All these things on this game come together to make really one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. So I think that is definitely a required game for even people who don't like RPGs. I think you try that and you'll get that the bug, the RPG bug.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, you think that over 7 then, which is like a pretty...
I mean, I think most people would say 7, but for me, it's 6. Actually, even 4 is incredible. They're all really good, but 6 is the one that I choose.
All right.
I was thinking along the exact same lines as both of you. Foundational games that have to be played. So obviously Mario is going to come to my mind because I'm like the platform king. But I couldn't, like molding, I have a different attachment to certain games. I feel like, of course, the early Marios are fantastic and I love them, but there was just some magic when it moved to 3D, but I couldn't pick the 3D one just because it had a little rough around the edges and it doesn't look as nice. And then there was, the flood in the Mario Sunshine. Didn't love that character. So much, a lot of work. So I landed, of course, on the best one, Mario Galaxy. Or you can pick Mario Galaxy 2. Either one, I don't care. This is when the series really hit its stride. It was had all of the elements, all of the suits, all of the hallmarks of a 3D, and the series hasn't been as good, if you ask me. Although it's been fantastic, I'm telling you, Mario Galaxy, if you want to play a platformer, is the one to start with.
I have it on the All-Stars for the Switch, and great times on that. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Good stuff. Like, so my second one, I just thought back and I thought, you know what is a game that is just so kind of different? I mean, not quite so different anymore, but back in the day, this friend of mine from Best Buy named Andy, he comes up to me, he's like, have you played this game called Demon Souls yet? I was like, no, I haven't played Demon Souls. And I picked this game up, and oh my gosh, this game, I was like, this is the hardest game I've ever played in my life. And I even told it to my friend. I'm like, I'm playing this game called Demon Souls, and this guy's like pulling all-nighters playing Demon Souls, and I'm right there with him. And I gotta say, Demon Souls, it's been remade gloriously. Blue Point on the PS5. Go pick it up there. Give Demon Souls a run, because I feel like Demon Souls, besides potentially getting hard stuck and having to farm, which is like the most annoying, it is a fantastic Souls game. Like, I think it's one of my favorites. It just has a
required playing. Like,
it's
that's
required
brutal.
playing.
Do you hate noobs? Like that?
Well,
I completely agree. It's like the grandfather of so many games that we play since then.
Mm-hmm.
They
It's
all
the
have that
grandfather of
root
Souls
in that game.
That just is hard. It's a lot of work. I don't want to work.
No, I never said it was going to be easy. It's going to be grueling.
Dan doesn't like work.
No.
Yeah, no, it's a really good time, especially if you're playing with a friend. One of those games for some reason work well when you're kind of like hanging out with somebody.
Yeah.
Once I start having friends, I'll let you know. I think you guys might fight me on this, maybe not, but I think Tetris.
Either way.
I think Tetris is a game that everyone should play. And this is why. I think it's a game that your grandmother, your grandfather could pick up and understand right away what you got to do. I think people who don't like video games can see this game and say, okay, I can understand how someone could sit down for 45 minutes, 45 hours and play a game straight through, because it's got music, it's got that really core gameplay that you just understand. Everything about it, I think, to me, is the essence of what a video game is, distilled to its chemistry, if that makes sense. I think just that game makes sense to me, and I think it makes sense to people who don't know games.
Great.
That was kind of word salad. But.
No, I love it. And Tetris 99 is also so fun. I've talked about Tetris 99 before, and so if you want to do like a BR style, I highly recommend that as well.
That is a good pick. I like that you bring it back to the basics, and that was such a cultural moment when the Game Boy first launched. I remember that as a kid.
Absolutely.
And it was fantastic. And another one, my pick to bring it back to basics, I think, is you gotta say Minecraft. Love it or hate it, this is like a digital Legos, and Lego games can't even replicate how great this game is and how influential this game is. It's still great today. I love to go back in every couple years and just see what they've added and see what else I can do, and you kind of get lost in the world building your train tracks and your underwater sea tunnels that I love to do, but they're fantastic, and I absolutely adore that game. I don't think there's another one out there quite like it.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a sandbox game like that. Well, I mean, there've been lots of games have tried to replicate that, the lightning in the bottle sort of thing. But I think, Minecraft is a great choice.
Yeah, you don't get chicken jockey from just anywhere. Okay, fellas, let's just have it.
Just don't see the movie.
Oh, good times.
Good stuff, gents.
Yeah, agreed. Good picks. Good stuff. That pretty much wraps up everything we have for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast, please tell 319 friends. And on behalf of Matthew Moulding, Mouth Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.